Good evening, I'm Gary Franchi, Next News Network Chief White House Correspondent, delivering the latest White House news from the past 24 hours with our streaming partner, Trump Daily Post. President Trump's biggest move today centered on a major expansion of the Ratepayer Protection Pledge, locking in protection so AI and data center growth do not drive up electric bills for American families and businesses. The day also brought a firm Trump warning to Iran and the Houthis, a White House briefing from Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, and a Rose Garden celebration as the back-to-back World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers visited the White House. Now, according to the daily guidance, the president's public schedule set the day around three main events: Karoline Leavitt's 11 a.m. briefing, earlier than usual, a 2:30 p.m. Ratepayer Protection Pledge announcement at the Environmental Protection Agency, and a 4:30 p.m. Rose Garden event honoring the 2025 World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers. The schedule also listed an evening Oval Office policy meeting and a separate meeting with the U.S. ambassador to Switzerland and Liechtenstein, along with Newt Gingrich. By 11:22 a.m., the 2-minute warning went out for the press briefing in the James S. Brady briefing room. And at 11:24 a.m., Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt stepped to the podium and rapped at 11:45. She updated reporters on President Trump's schedule and fielded questions on the economy, the Saudi deal, socialism, Darlene Graham, and keeping the administration's message centered on policy and results. At 12:03 p.m., the White House called a routine lunch lid, pausing public updates until 1 p.m. At 1:48 p.m., the in-town travel pool was told to gather for the motorcade departure as the president prepared to head to the EPA. Now, the motorcade rolled out at 2:10 p.m. from the White House, with the press pool loaded at 1:55, heading to the Environmental Protection Agency. At 2:14 p.m., the pool arrived at EPA, where a roundtable on the Ratepayer Protection Pledge brought together President Trump, Energy Secretary Chris Wright, Governors Brian Kemp, Jeff Laundrie, Brad Little, and Jim Pillen, along with local officials, utility executives, and Meta CEO Dina Powell McCormick. The lineup underscored the administration's argument that American energy growth and American AI leadership can move together without punishing ratepayers. At 2:21 p.m., President Trump arrived to a long-standing ovation and began speaking at 2:23, with Chief of Staff Susie Wiles also in attendance. During those remarks, President Trump called artificial intelligence bigger than the internet, said the United States is leading China, and made clear he intends to keep that edge. He also stressed the need to stay ahead in cryptocurrency, praised Lee Zeldin as phenomenal, and saluted governors in the room who are helping build the next phase of American infrastructure. He wrapped his remarks at 2:53 after another sharp line on national strength. Quote, "We are going to continue to be free as long as we're smart." He also worked the room with a political check-in for Governor Jim Pillen, asking, do they still like Trump in Nebraska? At 2:55 p.m., the press pool left the EPA and the motorcade departed at 2:58 for the return to the White House. The motorcade reached the White House grounds at 3:01, closing out the EPA leg of the day. Later in the afternoon, the press pool was called to gather at the Palm Room doors ahead of the Rose Garden event with the Dodgers. The team entered at 4:20 p.m., with many attending wearing Dodgers caps. President Trump emerged from the Oval Office at 4:35 and began speaking at 4:37, turning the Rose Garden into a celebration of championship baseball and American sports tradition. Attendees included Robert F. Kennedy Jr., DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, Bill Pulte, and Michelle Steele. President Trump finished his remarks at 5:01 p.m. after receiving a personalized ring and a Dodgers jersey bearing Trump 47. He then headed into the Oval Office to present the team with a gift. By 6:02 p.m., the White House called the final lid for the day and confirmed that the president's gift to the Dodgers was a Trump challenge coin. In a White House statement released later in the day, the administration laid out the full scale of the Ratepayer Protection Pledge expansion. More than 200 utilities Data center developers, cooperatives, and states have now signed on, covering 80% of the power delivered to American homes and businesses and protecting 263 million Americans from data center-driven rate hikes. The pledge locks in a simple Trump standard. Large operators fund the new generation of infrastructure they need, not working families. The White House highlighted projected customer savings and rate projections across Michigan, Indiana, Georgia, Mississippi, Wisconsin, Louisiana, and Texas, with agreements involving companies including Google, Oracle, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, and Crusoe. A second scheduled distribution later in the day mirrored the same core agenda: the APA announcement, the Dodgers ceremony, the Oval Office policy meeting, and the evening ambassador meeting remained the backbone of the president's Thursday. And that is the White House daily rundown over the past 24 hours. The Trump administration projected strength overseas, consumer protection at home, and a steady public schedule built around energy, growth, and American confidence.